My name is Paolo Tomev, and I am from Bulgaria originally, but currently I'm in the Netherlands.
Mhm.
I am a third year student in a game design study in the Netherlands, in Groningen. And I also started a video game studio called Healing.
Mhm.
And I mean, throughout the past even 3 years now, I have been working with actual clients in the Netherlands as well. And
Mhm.
those clients, an example I can give you is I needed to make a VR game on how to train blind, well, not entirely blind. Yeah, so basically teaching people how to do specific things in real life through a game.
Cool. The Netherlands, obviously you're in school for game design and things like that. What is the scene like as far as the gaming culture industry as a whole?
Oh, in the Netherlands specifically, what I've noticed and I was quite surprised by is that there is a big board game community as well, not
Mm,
just video game. The
interesting.
board games here are very popular. They blow up a lot usually.
Mm,
And for the gaming industry itself, they focus more on serious games rather than entertainment games.
mm,
And entertainment games still exist. Personally, I play entertainment games
mm,
mostly because that's what I prefer, I guess. But the Netherlands, they do have a good gaming landscape, a good
mm,
industry. I mean, obviously, we'll talk about Guerrilla games that made
mm.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right.
But yeah, there is a couple. The Netherlands is like maybe like in the top 5 in the EU for the gaming industry. It's not as big as the US. It's nowhere near the US, but it's somewhere. It's something.
You kind of learn like 3D modeling and programming. Blender is something that I'm currently like starting to get my feet wet into. Like, kind of how was that process and sort of how did that tie into all the other stuff that you kind of started to do?
Well, funnily enough, I believe that every single person that starts learning Blender, they always do that first tutorial on YouTube, the
With
donut.
the donut,
Right?
the
Yeah.
donut.
And actually, many people have asked like, "Oh, but why is it a donut? Why is that the best tutorial to do it as a completely new beginner in Blender?"
Yeah.
Because the shape of the donut is gonna make you explore the majority of things that you're gonna be doing as methods in 3D modeling. That's why. My studies at university, we focus both on every student needs to know the basics of coding. Every
Mhm.
student needs to know the basics of 3D modeling. Whatever you it doesn't really matter. You still need to know at least the basics because for me, my role is a game designer, and I focus more on narrative. So that's more into
Mhm.
writing. However, be able as a game designer, as a narrative designer, I still need to be able to know what the 3D modeler is going to be capable of and what the program,
Right.
because if I can just set a realistic expectations on their task.
Interesting. But how did you sort of get to the point to where you were like, okay, I have learned the basics, or I have learned enough skills to where I can make my own company, or I can sort of, pivot into doing my own thing.
Well, pretty much after 2 years in our study specifically, you are going to learn the basics, inevitable, pretty much, of game, and then from pretty much from year 3 and year 4, and even after, you have to continue learning on your own.
Mm,
And specifically for my case, for my business that we started, it's me and 5 others together, and well, we had a good idea that presented in front of our marketing teachers. They liked it. They felt like it has an opportunity.
mm.
We also met because our game is inspired by another game, and we met the creator of that other game, and he was like, "I think your game also has a potential because."
Mhm.
Yeah, your game is inspired by my game, but different enough, and you are iterating it enough to make it something new, something different.
Right, right, right.
And yeah, the company, why did I start? Because of the fact that I also very much realized I'm a very ambitious person,
Hmm.
and I would have always loved to have my own business essentially.
Hmm.
And well, I'm currently 21,
Hmm.
and you never truly have the right age to start a business, because it's good to try, because of course we do realize, me and the other students, we do realize, yes, we are very from the realistic point of view, no, like, we don't have the experience of starting. So,
Right.
and usually business people or the entrepreneurs, they don't succeed the first time. They are
Hmm.
gonna succeed with their 10, something like that.
Hmm.
So you just have to start.
I'm imagining you're starting to use a lot more AI. Sort of, where has that sort of entered into your lexicon? What you're working on, like, how do you use that to obviously your benefit and advantage, but also sort of keeping that core originality, that core principle of why you kind of got to start?
Well, with AI mostly, and we are very like wary of the whole, let's say, drama with AI,
Right.
especially in the gaming industry and especially with artists, for example.
Right.
However, how we do like use it for essentially, for example, we use GPT for planning. Helps us with planning
Mhm.
tasks, planning Scrum process,
Mhm.
planning milestones, deadlines, things like that. Also, there is a case where, for example, you get specific error in the code.
Mhm.
And then if our programmer are unable to figure it out on their own, then they AI like GPT, for example, and they just ask to debug the code or something like that.
Yep.
It doesn't work perfect, but it does help.
What games are you sort of into? Like, I'm pretty sure you're like playing games, but obviously, sure, those games are sort of going to influence the games that you kind of want to make or the games that you kind of want to work on, things like that. So, what are you playing? Like, what is sort of flavor?
Okay, well, I'm usually a big variety, mostly
Mm.
again because I can't really stick to one game for a
Mhm.
very long time, but I'll come back to that in a moment. Yeah, I have current mostly Tekken,
Mm.
Honkai Star, and World of Warcraft, which are just completely different from each
Yeah.
other. And but the reason why I am a variety gamer is not only that I am unable to stick to one game, but also because as a game designer, I should have many different examples of other
Mhm.
people's work, and then
Yeah.
I can get more ideas from other game designers. And
Yeah.
yeah, for World of Warcraft specifically, I wish to mention, just to come back on this, World of Warcraft, I have been playing that 12 years now.
How do you go about like bringing the ideas and things that you have? How do you guys go about like creation process? How do you go about like thinking about the next sort of idea?
Well, our process mostly through a lot of research marketing. What we usually do is we look into currently we look into like previous titles that they haven't really had a new iteration in a couple of years, for example, and like 5 or 10 years and more. And these are successful titles people enjoyed back in the day.
Mhm.
However, for one reason or another, there is not a sequel to it, or there isn't really another game that's kind of like that, but a bit different.
Mhm.
And yeah, what we're working basically trying to give those people a new version of their thing that they like to play in the past.
Mhm.
Now, part of the creative process, essentially, I mean, a lot of ideas have already been thought of, basically.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because game development has been around for a very long time,
Right.
and there is a lot of ideas that are impossible to do currently, and there
Mhm.
is also a lot of ideas that have already been thought of, and of
Mhm.
course there is completely original ideas. Pros.
What's the next, big thing for you?
The next big thing that's gonna happen is, well, during this summer, me and a friend of mine, a programmer, we're planning to go a bit of the mobile gaming industry as
Mhm.
well. We just want to make a small mobile game where we're not really gonna advertise it that much. It's mostly for our own experience and learning
Mhm.
outcome.
Right.
And yeah, just to see what that market is. Interesting fact, in 2024, there has been research by Statista, I believe, and the gaming market worldwide, 50% of it is mobile.
That
Me and my friends on Discord mostly, we were just joking about how, for example, our parents who don't like game, they usually
Mhm.
just play that one mobile game.
Yeah.
For some reason, they're extremely good at that. Maybe
Yeah.
they are like top 10 in the world in that game, but they
Yeah.
don't even know. Yeah.
As your company grows, as you sort of bring more of your ideas to the forefront and are able to kind of do more things, like you got plans on making like a big game, like what is sort of like your dream sort of scenario, like big picture down the road. If everything was perfect and you all the stars align, like what would
Yeah.
you like to see happen?
Well, if everything was perfect, our current project, Gluten, is going to be a PC game released on Steam. That will be, a success. We are trying to go for mostly the audience that comes from Little League, which is Little League is the game that we were inspired by to create Gluten. And yeah, in a perfect world, well, Little League back in the days, like 7 or 8 years ago, Little League was a big success for that company. They are also from the Netherlands, and they managed to grow from that specific project. So we would like hopefully replicate that same success from Little League with our own version of Little League. So I would like the company to grow as much as possible. These are the normal things. But then if it does go wrong and things like that, for me personally, my to reach a point where I can work in on at least one AAA title.
You would obviously have the skills as far as programming and animation and things like that. I mean, which are valuable skills.
Yeah. Why I want to do it, I would leave my name under one of those big games. At least once.
Yeah.
And then maybe even after I'm done with that, because it's going to be a lot of stress, it's going to be absolutely terrible, but then it's worth it at the end when it releases. So maybe I just want to do one and then go out. For the people in the industry, LinkedIn, you can find me by my real name, which is Paolo Tomev. And for people that are just interested to just following me as a personality, I guess, then they can go to my Instagram, which is again just Paolo Tomev.
We'll definitely be looking out for some of those games and some of those ideas to come out, out from the Netherlands.